So this week I learned, well, not very many good things, but we're going to talk about the good stuff that did happen this week. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another weekly update. It is Super Bowl weekend here in the States, and you know, if that's something you're into, American football, then hey, you know, it's something that we pretty much treat like a holiday here. So looking very much forward to that. But a very interesting week to talk about, and we're going to do like usual, guys. We're going to kick things off with what am I reading? I did finish The Stone of Farewell today. And last week I said I didn't know if I would finish this or not. It's another one of those things where it's you know, you'll think, it's going to take me forever to get through that, and then one day you just end up finding a way to fly through, you know, half the story if you're, you know, into that kind of thing. I mean, I am. As far as thoughts on the book, I plan to review it and get a little more into it. I still put it on the side of I liked it. I did. I think it was a big step down from Dragonbone Chair, though. I thought Dragonbone Chair was way better, and I think that's because this one, it's like there's like a big event in the middle of the book, and then there's like nothing really for like 300 pages, and then like a little skirmish at the end. And again, guys, it doesn't have to be all about action, but I do need something to happen. So it kind of almost got like in that almost that Name of the Windy thing, where it's like, yeah, this writing is really beautiful, but I can't tell you very much of what's happened the last 300 pages. So that did kind of fall into that trap a little bit with me for this one. Still like it quite a bit, but it does very much feel like a middle book in a trilogy. So these are things that can be expected, you know. I think it was more that, you know, they split up some characters that I like them better when they're together, and when they just kind of disappear for a while when they're not with Simon. I didn't really like that very much, but and there's like a little subplot that's going on that just completely I just do not care about. But like I said, I'll get into that when I actually do the review at the end of the month before we move into the final book in the series. Well, the first part of the two-parter, that is Two Green Angel Tower. But I'm very much looking forward to it, and I'm excited to keep going. And I believe that the feedback has been very good on this on the Discord and stuff. So that's very, very encouraging that people are still having a good time. Some people still aren't done. You know, we're only 10 days into this, you know, and this is it's a beefy book. It's going to happen. I'm about on line 1,500 right now on Beowulf. I said I'm kind of reading about 100, 200 lines per night kind of thing to take these small bites before Philip and I talk about it. But yeah, very much am enjoying what Tolkien has done here and put it in a way that is very clear to understand. Now I'm like, well, gosh, now I'm kind of curious to go back and visit the poem and see if it's way harder to transcribe than this, you know? Because I do remember, like I said, reading this in high school and really struggling, being like, I don't know what I just read the last 5 lines, much less the last 100. So I don't know. Maybe the brain has evolved, or Tolkien has just put it into small bites that we can all understand. And he was good at that, wasn't he? He was very, very good. I think Tolkien is going to have a career. He's going to do okay. That's pretty much all I got right now for what am I reading, guys. Let's go ahead and dig into what am I going to read. Now, I did go ahead and start Toll of the Hounds today. Got through the prologue in chapter 1, which you think, oh, that isn't that much. It's 70 pages. It's 70 pages in a Malazan book. And it's barely even like a fingernail. Don't know what's going on. What a surprise. It's Malazan. The prologue was really like, I recognize these names, but I can't remember who some of the people are. But then it got to the point where in the first chapter, it was like, okay, I recognize a lot of these names, but I haven't seen them in a while. So I'm trying to remember all the way back to like Guards of the Moon. What have these characters done since then? And like, was Guard of the Moon the last time that I saw some of those guys? So it's okay. I don't know where this book's going at all. You know, it's talking about Dragon Imperial, it's talking about Andamander Rake, so I'm interested to see where it goes. But yeah, I just started today, so I don't have very much feedback on it, except hey, you know, another prologue where I'm like, you know, but that seems to be par for the course when it comes to Malazan books. But I do have a positive attitude about this, guys. I'm not going in. People think that after Reaper's Guild, I'm going into this all negative. I am not. I am trying to stay very, very positive about this. And again, I've liked 5 of the 7 books, guys. I'm expecting to like it. You know, I am. So there is that. And then I know I told you guys I was going to start Abandon by Blake Crouch at the same time. Well, I was at work and I had my Kindle, and I don't have Abandon on my Kindle. You know what I do have on hard copy and my Kindle? The other book I was going to read this month, which was Age of Myth. So I went ahead and decided to go ahead and start that too, and got a couple of chapters into that. And yes, guys, I am going to be reading these concurrently. I kind of like to not do 2 fantasy books at once, but I think that Michael J. Sullivan's very, very easy to digest, so it's not really a problem kind of mixing those two. Hey, about that, hit the microphone. All right, at least it didn't knock anything over, you know. I thought I was going to knock it into my coffee. That would have been really, really great. But yeah, I think you can read Michael J. Sullivan along with a fantasy book and be okay. Yeah, I would do Abandon, you know, after I finish Age of Myth, because one sitting, I pretty much got through about like 15% of Age of Myth. So I don't think it's going to be a very difficult read. So yeah, I actually read into 3 books today. Finished Stone of Farewell this morning, did Malazan over lunch, and then did Age of Myth a little bit when I got home. So it was a full day with, you know, multiple stories going on. So that's the way that we like to do it, guys. And yes, I'm not forgetting about this. It is going to happen, guys. I know there are some people that want to read along with me. I'm going to be doing it still, like I said, after I finish Age of Myth, probably far before I finish Toll the Hound. So worry not, my crouch potatoes. We will be getting to Abandon sometime this month. And if you guys still want to join us on that, you know, there's plenty of time. Okay, let's talk about this week on the channel a little bit. It ended up being a full week, and I didn't really plan for it to be this way. Look, I knew I was going to do my Nevernight Chronicle review by Jay Kristoff. I knew I was going to do that. It was going to be my review for the week. It's a series that I wanted to talk about because I've talked about it, you know, the last few weeks. I read the trilogy, and I kind of gave like mini reviews, each one of those. So I'm trying not to regurgitate everything I said here. But yeah, I liked it a lot. I'm very encouraged by the feedback in that video of people saying, you know what, I wasn't going to give it a try, but based off what you're telling me, I think I'll give it a go. And there are still some people being like, hey, this is why I didn't like it, this, and this, and it makes sense, guys. I get, like I said in that video, it's not a series I'm going to recommend for everybody, because I think there's going to be some things that do not land for certain people, but there are going to be people like myself who are like, don't take it too seriously, guys. I think that even Jay Kristoff himself said that when I talked to him. If you don't take his books too seriously, I think you'll probably end up enjoying them much more than some people are. But like I said, I feel like there has been like a little bit of a narrative out there about those books by people who haven't even read them, just going off of what other people have said. And I will always encourage you guys, please pick up stuff and decide for yourself. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to anyone else. Yeah, I think that I'm good for letting you know, hey, these are things I think you might not like. These are things I think you might like. But as far as like if you should read it or not, guys, I encourage you to do that. Pick it up and decide for yourself. And same thing goes with that. And I did have a nice discussion with Jake Bishop. As I know him, Truthless of YouTube, Madison, my co-partner from As the Wheel Turns, and of course Scott, who's new to Book 2, is the Bald BookTuber. We'll link all these channels below. I want you guys please to check them out, subscribe to their channels. But we talked about the Dragonbone chair. We did a little spoiler talk, because when I did do my review for Dragonbone chair, there was enough people who were like, you know, I was kind of hoping you would talk about some spoilers. And, you know, a video like that, people haven't read it. They're not going to be too interested in watching it. You know, a couple thousand views, people that are interested in it. I did have a lot of people ask me why I didn't have Brian Lee Durfee on to talk with us. I plan to talk to Brian after, if he's willing to come on. Because I know this is like his favorite series ever, and I don't want him to feel like he's got to share the stage with anybody. I want him to be able to talk about why he loves that series. So I didn't forget Brian Lee Durfee. I know that this Tad is his boy. I know that. But I will be talking to Brian afterwards again. I haven't actually asked him if he would, but I don't see Brian ever being the type of guys that be like, no, get lost. You know, he's always going to come on if I ask him. At least I think. And he had a cover reveal today. Good for him, man. His 3rd book is finally coming out this year. I'm very excited for him. The art. Perfect. So yeah, talked some Dragonbone chair spoilers. Fun conversation. We talked about an hour about everything in there, and I think that we all pretty much liked the book, and I thought it was a pretty good conversation. We all kind of had like a similar views on a lot of things. A couple things we disagreed on, but you know that's what makes conversation fun, right? If we all agreed, there'd be anything to talk about. But always fun to talk to those folks. I did kind of my off the wall one for this week was my favorite animal companions in fantasy and sci-fi. And yeah, you know, you do a video like that, people are just going to talk about the ones you left off. And I left off some big ones. You know, I left off Kojak from The Stand. That one actually upset me quite a bit. I left off Oriser from Mistborn. Forgot about that one. Yeah, there's a few that I just like, I should have got it. Oh, Sophocles from Red Rising. Yeah, there's some good ones that I left off, guys. You know, I was just going completely off memory there. But I feel good about the ones that I picked. I like the ones that I picked quite a bit. And I was very happy with them. I know there's some people like, why not Kontaka? But, you know, I'd only, at the time, I was like, I only read one, you know, Tad Williams book at this point. I wasn't ready to put him up there with all those other wolf companions that I have in there. But it's a video that I had a good time with, and a lot of reminiscing in there. Some characters that, you know, were part of my childhood. like Reap It Cheap, things like that that were just fun to talk about again. That I never really gotten a chance to talk about on this channel, or some of those comic book characters like Crypto and Ampersand and Matthew, some characters from some comics that a lot of people wouldn't really consider when they think about, animal companions. So it was a fun video for me to talk about, and seeing a lot of other people's responses, if people count dragons or not, has been a lot of fun. But yeah, that was a video that a topic that I enjoyed, and I'm glad that I did it. Pretty happy with how it turned out. And then I did this thing called State of the Channel, guys. In case you don't know, I've been struggling with some things lately on the channel. What I'm trying to get across in that video that I can't really say without saying is, I do say the word in there once, but I don't like to try to do it because, look, there's this thing called a shadow ban on YouTube. And it's not good for your channel. And I'm pretty sure I've been hit with it. And I don't know if I got complaints. I don't know what. But basically what it is, guys, and that's what that video is saying without me trying to say it too much, is that's happened to me. And I don't know if it's because I got complaints. I don't know if I just fell out of favor, if I said something I shouldn't have. I've never said the real word for the virus or shall not be named on the channel, so I have no idea what could have got me in trouble. But yeah, basically they've removed me from their algorithm as far as reach goes. And that's really what that video was. It was frustration of me trying to deal with, for 2.5 years, I've been a model citizen on YouTube. I've never made waves. I've never been nasty. I've never done anything that I think that would be considered misconduct. And to be hit with that is just, it feels wrong. But, it's completely within YouTube's terms of service to do that. So it's one of those things where, in case people don't know what it is, it's where your videos don't show up in people's subscriber feeds anymore. They don't show up as recommendations to anyone else, that isn't subscribed to your channel. And that makes a lot of sense for why my impressions rate and just my overall engagement and viewership for the channel is just kind of just bombed the last, handful of months. And so that's kind of really what I was talking about in there, was just, it's really brought me down. It's really affected my mood because I feel like I've worked very hard on this channel. And to have that happen for no reason, at least, no reason that they've made clear to me. And I know people say like, oh, well, they'll notify. No, they will notify you if you get a copyright strike or if you get a warning. They won't notify you if you give you the big old S word. They don't let you know. It just kind of happens. And I don't know if there's a way to get out of it or not. But yeah, I've had numerous people tell me, yeah, I'm subscribed, hit the bell and everything, and I never get notified about your videos anymore. So it's very obvious that that's what's happening. So that's really what that video was about, was that, and just talking about, hey, I think I've decided to go down to less content on the channel. If I'm not going to be getting new eyes, I'd like to just worry about my core audience and give you guys quality over quantity. It's something I've been talking about doing for a while, and make sure that, spending enough time with my kids, because I feel like I was starting to kind of, it's one of those things where I said if this stopped being fun, I'd stop doing it. No, I'm still having fun, but my work ethic is the type where I started like letting it not be fun, where I was like, okay, I've got to have this much content per week and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a decision that kind of a silver lining there. I needed to kind of make that change. So I think the new method going forward is going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday and Wednesday, new videos, and Friday, the weekly update is kind of be the thing for now. That's up for change, if things, if I get out of the doghouse with the YouTube overlords, maybe I'll go back up and see how that goes. But that's really what that video was trying to say. It was almost like a hostage video. I was trying to say it because if you say the word too many times, guys, you're going to draw attention, and the next thing that happens is I get deplatformed, and I don't want that to happen. Obviously, I do enjoy being able to talk to you guys about these things, and like I said, I'm just a public servant for you guys. So there we go, guys. That's kind of what has been going on this week on the channel. Let's talk about a little next week plans. Since there's only going to be a couple new videos, it's going to be easy for me to target now what I should be able to get out in full confidence without being saying, if I have time, whatever. We'll do my book haul. I plan on doing that this week, but just other things happened, and I wanted to do that State of the Channel video this past week. So I will do my book haul for January, which I know will be a little late, but that's fine. I don't think anyone's going to be mad about it. And, of course, I will be moving back into the Good and the Bad series. I haven't done one of these in a while. I've done it for Lycanius. I've done it for the First Law. And I've done it for the Wheel of Time. So if you don't know what the Good and the Bad is, where I take a series that I really like, and people say, you don't know how to say anything bad about series that you love. And I say, oh, yeah, sure I do. And I think I can present it in a way that where, these are things that I think that you'll like. These are things that you might not like. And the victim this week is going to be Red Rising by Pierce Brown. And this is mostly because Pierce has not put out a new book in a while, and I want to make sure that I keep Red Rising stuff in people's faces because it's a series I definitely think that you should pick up and try out. So I'll be doing giving it the good and the bad treatment, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting discussion, I think, because it's a series that I adore, and it's a series that a lot of people that have told me been like, I just couldn't get past that first book. We're going to talk about it, guys. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything for you, but yeah, I think it'll be a fun talk to talk about one of my favorite modern sci-fi series going. Let's do a little TV and movie talk, guys. Let's talk about that Boba Fett finale. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything for you. I'm just going to kind of give my overall impressions. Christopher Rocchio and I have talked about doing a spoiler talk about this because we were texting back and forth after last night's episode, and you know, if you can flip tables over text messages, we were flipping tables over some things. This mainly had to do with a character we were very excited to see, and it feels like they gave him the Darth Maul treatment. You know, hey, this awesome character, and it's just like, why? Why did you do that? I mean, that overwhelming response for that character, why would you do that? That's just a dumb idea. And, you know, there's already these theories about this didn't happen, that didn't happen. We'll get into that when he and I talk. And I don't know when that's happening, guys, so I can't tell you. But I think overall, I think Book of Boba Fett's a bad show. It's not that great when you're talking about Boba Fett. Boba Fett is not good on the show. It's taken one of the coolest characters in the lore and made him kind of worthless, kind of made him a cameo almost in his own show. It seems like, I mean, at least in this episode, he finally got to do something. But this whole season, he's just gotten thrown around and injured, and then Fennec Shand comes in and does a flawless victory and everybody. And I was like, who signed up for this? And the modders, oh my God, that is the most cringe thing I have seen in Star Wars since Attack of the Clones. You know, so it's a mixed bag for sure. But I feel like all the stuff that I really liked is all stuff that could have been on another show or on The Mandalorian. That's kind of how I feel about it. So it's very upsetting because, I mean, sure, seeing the Rancor was cool. You know, things like that is really, really cool. But as far as like a Boba Fett show, I don't think it's a very good show. I really don't. And we're going to talk about it a little more at length. But yeah, there was some decisions made in the episode that were really, really disappointing me after I thought 6 was just a phenomenal episode. And yeah, guys, that's kind of where I am with it. Hey, they did put out a trailer for Firestarter. That's the new Stephen King adaptation. So the remake of Firestarter. I'm not really beholden to the 1980s movie with Drew Barrymore. It's okay. It's okay. But again, that's not one of his books I consider like an all-time classic. It was pretty good. I mean, I did review it on the channel. I had good things to say about it. I said you can see the Stranger Things influence and things like that in that book. But this trailer, it looks better than I expected, right? I mean, it does. It looks decent. I think that Blumhouse movies are usually at least watchable. Obviously, I'm going to be in a different grading scale when it comes to a Stephen King adaptation. But when they first announced they were doing this, it looks better than that. It looks better. But I learned in 2019 with Pet Sematary not to get my hopes up for these things. But I will say it does look better than I expected, and at least Rainbird actually looks like he's described in the book now, you know? So there's that. So I think that's one of his just most chilling villains that he's ever written. So I'm hoping they don't, because I did see it's PG-13, so I hope they don't take their foot off the brake a little bit too much in there, and they let Rainbird be Rainbird in that story. I think it would really help. So we'll see, guys. The girl playing Charlie looks good. I mean, she looks great. So, you know, fingers crossed. I mean, I'm still not sure how I feel about Zac Efron. And whenever they do these books, they always modernize them, and I always feel like that's something I'm not really crazy about. But we'll see. I will definitely give it a chance. Like I said, Blumhouse movies are usually at least watchable, and I feel like it's got a better chance at being faithful to the source material than if like Sony or Warner Brothers was doing this, you know. So, fingers crossed on that. Hey, did you see Dune got 10 Oscar nominations? Really awesome, right? So, hey, Denny V's going to get his first Oscar, right? No, he got snubbed. Can you believe this? Denny V did not get a Best Director nomination for Dune. Unbelievable. I want to say they're going to do like they did with Lord of the Rings, where when Return of the King came out, I mean, they kind of stiffed it. They gave it a few technical awards along the way, but, you know, they all really kind of got stiffed the first two movies. And then after the third one, as an achievement for the whole, they gave them everything. Now, I don't think that's going to necessarily happen for Dune, but I do think they'll win a few technical ones this time. Hans Zimmer might win for score, things like that. You get maybe some cinematography, some costuming, something like that. But then I think after Dune Part 2 comes out, that's when Denny at least gets his nomination as a whole for both Dune and Dune Part 2. That's just the way that the Academy does stuff. That, or the Academy is just, you know, they've lost it. Look, I'm not going to lie, ever since they stiffed Richard Linklater for Boyhood, regardless of how you feel about that movie, Boyhood, he deserved that Oscar just for the achievement of what he pulled off with Boyhood. And they give it to Birdman. Oh, God. Anyhow, so yeah, I haven't been a fan of the Academy since then. And I'm also an admitted Richard Linklater honk. So, there's that. But yeah, I haven't taken the Academy seriously in a while. But yeah, I'm glad that they're giving Dune some recognition. But I do think it's kind of wild that no acting nominations, and especially not a director. That's just crazy to me. So yeah, no one has worked harder to get that movie made than Denny V. So hopefully they do remember him after Dune Part 2 comes out. I want to talk about a movie that I watched with the kids over the weekend that really just, it's a tragic tale, really. I'm talking about John Carter of Mars, or it's just called John Carter because Disney's idiots. Now, this came out in 2012, and I think this is a movie that's known more for being a box office disaster. It lost Disney $200 million, and this is before Disney was Disney at the cinema, guys. This is before the MCU, before everything they put out. People were like, oh, it's the best thing ever. It's a great movie, though. That's the thing. It's like people didn't watch it because of that, but when they did watch it, like, holy hell, that was actually really good. I think it's it's better than probably any Star Wars movie we've had since the 80s. It really is that good. And it just got me thinking about how much I'd really like to revisit the John Carter books by Edgar Rice Burroughs again, because I've only read the first one. I talked about my favorite classics that I want to read when I get back into this. But watching that again with my kids made me think I really would like to go back to that. But that movie is just so good. It's on Disney Plus, guys. It's great to watch with your kids. It's great to watch by yourself. It's just a good sci-fi romp. It's fantastic. And guys don't know how much stuff took influence from John Carter by Edgar Rice Burroughs. Dune took stuff from it. Avatar took stuff from it. Star Wars really took stuff from it. It is a very influential story, and that movie is great. And oh my God, the girl who plays Deja Thoris, Lynn Collins, whoo, if I'm like in a lab and I'm making like the perfect woman, yeah, she in that movie she is the type that is like so gorgeous that like it like makes your heart hurt every time she's on the screen because she's just so beautiful. Yeah. My wife didn't enjoy 2 hours of me like woohoo every time she was on the screen. But you know what? I gotta hear her pant like a dog every time I watch Supernatural when Dean Winchester's on the screen. So I don't feel bad at all. But yeah, a great movie, great all around. The special effects were well ahead of their time. And look, guys, I'm gonna be honest. It's better than about 95% of the Marvel movies. It really is. So forget what you've heard about it. Just check it out. It's really good. It's a tragic, tragic story because we won't get the trilogy that they had planned to make for those movies. I would have loved to have seen it. So I was like, I liked it when I first saw it, and I was like, well, did I have kind of like the the rose tinted glasses because I like the book or what? But I watched it again. I was surprised. That movie is damn good and it has aged really, really well. So yeah, what a tragedy that we didn't get to see that continue. It's just a shame because such an influential story, and Disney just screwed up so much with the marketing of that movie, with everything, how they supported it. The rumor is they knew they were getting Star Wars, so they didn't care. They kind of let it fail. They knew they weren't going to sink that money into it because they knew that they were getting Star Wars. You're going to want to try to build a sci-fi series when you're getting the sci-fi series? Yeah, so yeah, it makes sense from a business standpoint, but it sucks for fans of John Carter of Mars. But yeah, I would very much like to revisit some of those stories here in the near future. I mean, what do you mind doing like a why you should read on that? Because Edgar Rice Burroughs, most people think about Tarzan when they think about Edgar Rice Burroughs, but for me, it's always be John Carter of Mars because I read with a first paperback, The Princess of Mars, A Princess of Mars in high school when I just found like a paperback was funny because I thought that when I saw the cover, I think it was a Franzetta art, I thought it was a Conan book at first, So that's why I actually picked it up when I grabbed it. But yeah, really, really cool story and a great, great movie. And like I said, watch it with your kids. Great family movie. It really is. I got a little bit of gaming talk before I go. Game Pass this week. I've been playing this game called Plague Tale: Innocence. That game takes tension to a whole new level. I had heard of this game and I don't think it was like an indie studio. I never heard of the studio. I think it's like a Sobo or something like that. But it's a game that's kind of been like a media darling. People really did love it. They really did say great things about it. And I can see why. It's a game that really is just very much stealth in a way that you're trying to find ways to get past all these obstacles so you and the small child don't get murdered during the plague. It's really, really cool, but it's challenging and it is tense. Like I said, there are parts where you'll literally be holding your breath and wanting to bite your nails, but you can't take your fingers off the controller, right? But yeah, it's a cool game, and I'm really, really enjoying that. So if you got Game Pass and you haven't played it yet, definite recommend. I heard they're actually working on a sequel that's not too far away, so it looks like I picked it up at the right time. So guys, that was my week. What was your week like? Drop in the comments. Let me know what you're reading, what you're watching, what you're listening to, what you are playing, and I will talk to you guys there. Have an awesome weekend and a safe Super Sunday.